A lot of people think Bitcoin is anonymous because it doesn't show names. You see a string of letters and numbers, and it feels like you're hidden. But what's actually happening is different, and it matters before money's involved. The most common privacy assumption in crypto is simple. If the system doesn't ask for your name, it must be private. And if it's private, it must be safe to use like cash. That assumption isn't careless, it's learned. Most digital systems hide their records from the public, and you only see what your own account shows you. Bitcoin doesn't work that way. It doesn't collect your name, but it also doesn't keep your activity private. It publishes it to a shared record that anyone can inspect.
To make this clear, we need one distinction. Anonymous and pseudonymous aren't the same thing. Anonymous means there's no persistent identifier tying actions together. If you do something today, it doesn't automatically connect to what you did yesterday. There isn't a stable trail to follow. Pseudonymous means you don't use your real name, but you do use a consistent identifier. In Bitcoin, that identifier is an address. It's not your name, but it's still a label that can hold a long history. So the privacy question isn't, does Bitcoin show my name? The question is, can activity be linked together and eventually linked back to me?
A public blockchain is built to remember. That's not a side effect. That is the product. Every time a transaction happens, the record shows addresses, amounts, and timing. It also shows how transactions connect to each other over time. Once written, that information doesn't expire. This is why people call it a public ledger. It's a shared notebook that everyone can read and no one can quietly edit later. It's meant to be auditable. So even if your name isn't on the page, your activity still is. And because the record is public, analysis can happen now, or years from now, or by someone you've never heard of.
The next question is the practical one. If the blockchain doesn't have names, how does identity ever get linked? Most of the time, it happens through normal behavior, not dramatic mistakes, not rare edge cases, just ordinary steps most people take when they start. One common example is buying crypto through a platform that verifies identity. If you withdraw to an address you control, that platform now has a relationship between you and that address. From there, that address has a visible history. Another common example is reuse. People copy and paste the same address again and again because it's convenient. But convenience creates continuity, and continuity makes tracking easier. And the important thing to understand is what happens after the first link. Once one address is associated with you, it can act like a key that opens more of the story, not because the system is judging you, but because the record is connected. This is the part that surprises people. Pseudonymous on a public ledger can be more exposing than a traditional bank system. In a bank, your transaction history is not publicly visible. It's stored inside private systems, and access is limited. That doesn't mean banks are perfect, but the default posture is hidden. On a public blockchain, the default posture is open. The record is available to anyone who wants to look. You don't need permission. You don't need a relationship with a company. You just need curiosity. So the risk isn't only, could someone identify me today? The deeper risk is, if I'm identified later, what becomes visible all at once? Because the past doesn't disappear. It's waiting. There's also a layer most beginners don't realize exists. People don't just look at individual transactions. They analyze patterns. That's because blockchains don't just show isolated events. They show relationships. Addresses interact, funds move, and history forms a graph. Over time, that graph can reveal clusters that appear to be controlled by the same person or the same organization. This is not a niche hobby. It's a professional industry. There are companies that specialize in analyzing public ledgers, linking activity, and building profiles of behavior. You don't need to treat that as sinister to take it seriously. It's simply the natural consequence of a system designed to be fully transparent. When data is public and permanent, analysis becomes inevitable. At this point, some people say, but Bitcoin can be private if you're careful. There's a grain of truth in that, but the important word is careful. Privacy in a transparent system isn't something you get automatically. It's something you have to actively maintain. And that is harder than it sounds because the system rewards consistency. Reusing an address feels normal. Moving funds through familiar steps feels normal. Using platforms that connect identity to activity feels normal. The problem is not that privacy is impossible. The problem is that it's fragile. One ordinary slip can undo a lot of effort because the record is connected and the history persists. So a calmer way to say it is this: Bitcoin privacy is not a default setting. It's an ongoing behavior, and most beginners don't realize they're making permanent disclosures while they learn. Here is the clearer model to keep in your head. Bitcoin is not anonymous cash. It is public record keeping without names attached. The system doesn't hide activity, it publishes activity. The only thing it doesn't publish is your legal identity, and that identity can still be connected from the outside through normal touchpoints. So when you think about privacy, don't ask, does it show my name? Ask, if this address becomes connected to me, what does it reveal? That question is calmer, and it matches how the system actually works. This doesn't mean you should panic. It means you should stop assuming the system protects your privacy by default. The privacy you have is the privacy you actively preserve. So the privacy lie isn't that someone is watching you personally. The lie is the assumption that no names means no visibility. Bitcoin is pseudonymous, and pseudonymous is not the same as private. A public ledger is designed to remember, and what it remembers can be analyzed long after the moment feels gone. A calmer takeaway is simple. Treat blockchain activity like publishing. Once you publish it to a shared record, it can be connected, reinterpreted, and understood later in ways you may not expect today. When you hold that model, you make different choices. You slow down, you separate convenience from privacy, and you stop confusing the absence of names with the presence of protection. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Everything on this channel is about understanding how crypto actually works, not price predictions or hype, but the systems, rules, and shared records that make crypto function under the hood. When you understand how the crypto system is built, it becomes much easier to judge the claims, headlines, and narratives around it. That foundation is what we'll keep building in the next video. This content is for education only, not investment advice. And thanks for watching.